Hello and welcome to another Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Capitano, directed by Matteo Garrone. So this is a film about two young men, Seydou and Moussa, who live in Senegal, and they have the dream of becoming rap stars in Italy. And in order to do this, they need to cross the Sahara Desert and get a boat from Libya to Italy. And so we get a little bit of their life in Senegal, and then most of the film is their difficult journey and the difficult journey that migrants face from trying to get from Africa to the EU. So the first thing to say about this film is the cinematography in the desert is stunning. It's beautiful colours, as you'd expect. It's really spectacular and glorious. And even in the Senegal village where they live, there's a real sense of joy, of community, of colour, of beauty. I got quite involved in the characters early on. It's great acting and it's really well made. There is a quality in the film that makes it compelling and enjoyable to watch right from the start. So there's a real sadness when the boys are looking at their family before leaving, and that's quite early in the film. It did a great job of kind of engaging my interest. I liked the protagonists in this story, so then I was really interested to follow the journey that they were going to go on. So we know with a film like this that they're going to run into problems, and there's always going to be a danger that it's a little bit cliched. At the same time, I think there's so much ignorance about migrants generally that I think that films like this are really important just to develop some compassion and understanding of what people around the world are going through. So the film does show the brutal realities of the migrant journey, but it's not too excessive. I think it does avoid the trap of becoming misery porn. Of course, it's very easy to get cheap, dramatic effects through peril, through danger, through mistreatment. I'm thinking of that film, The Swimmers, which is on Netflix, which is nowhere near as good as this film. But it does inform us in the same way about the difficulties of migrants trying to get to Europe. The swimmers, in The Swimmers, we're tortured much more with the drama of it. I did think that Capitano was more balanced and more nuanced, although there are some gut-wrenchingly horrible scenes. Overall, Capitano is a much better film, and overall I did enjoy this film, but I did have some problems with the film, which I think are quite important. First, these were not refugees seeking asylum who were at risk in their own country. These two boys, actually, the life we saw them having in Senegal seemed like a good, happy life, a nice community, nice family. We certainly root for them, but these are not asylum seekers, they're economic migrants. And we definitely have an understanding why they might want to move to have better opportunities, especially wanting to get into the music industry. But I think the film falls short in just not addressing the complexities of the difference between an economic migrant and a refugee seeking asylum. We do see the Libyan camps, which are notorious, and this is the most brutal, upsetting part of the film. But there is a controversy about EU deals with Libya to take migrants picked up by the EU and hold them in Libyan camps. And I don't know the ins and outs of this, but it seems to me that Seydou and Moussa are very unlikely to be allowed to stay in Italy. The whole story is kind of oversimplified, and this distinction between an economic migrant and a refugee, personally, I have no problem in having more compassion for economic migrants. But these issues are complex, and it seems to me this is a major omission that Capitano perhaps glosses over this, perhaps oversimplifies this. There's a second problem which I found with the film. Now, the film has some magical realism, and there's basically two instances of this, and I have to say they're both beautifully done. I particularly loved the imagery of the woman in the green dress floating. This is a really stunning, a really iconic image. I really loved it. However, these two examples of magical realism seem to be at odds with the rest of the film. It doesn't feel like the overall film is a magical realist film. It's a much more serious kind of exposition of the migrant's journey. There's just these two instances of magical realism, and I'm not really sure that they fit in such a serious film. That said, they are beautiful. They're really memorable scenes. Overall, I would say this film is really worth watching despite the problems I have with it. It's a compelling story with sympathetic characters, and it humanises the economic migrants as just ordinary people wanting a better life. And I think this is a good, this is something good for the film. I personally appreciate these underlying messages, but I'm not sure that it'll convert anyone who's anti-migration. It's too simplistic, and it glosses over the complexities of this issue. This is a film, in addition, about friendship and family. It's a film about desperate people coming together in adversity. And it's a film about leadership and service. And I loved all of these themes in the film. And it looks great. There's lots of good things to like about this film. With a couple of caveats, I would highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.